Okay, this is day 3. This is after the toss name with a compliment warm-up, and this is the something called the Mohawk walk. It's a slight variation on the Mohawk walk. We're going to do it a little differently, but basically, what we have here is a representation of the cables that we have set up out on the challenge course at camp. And what these cables represent is basically it's a triangle, and each of these corners right here, and then down there, and then over there, represent where the trees are set up, and then we have a turnbuckle for tensioning in this center area right here between these two trees. And so what's going to happen is that the campers and counselors, the rules of this are that basically you've got to get from this point down to the end without falling off, and it's about 24 feet, so it's not a trivial distance to go across. And so what the rules are is that at least one hand needs to be touching another person at all times, and both of your feet need to be on the cable as you get on the cable. So you can't just have one foot standing on the cable and then walking across with one foot on the ground. So yeah, the way that Mike and I have done this is that you can have a person that's standing on this area of the cable here, and then another person that's standing on that side, and you basically put your hands up like this. Or a better way is maybe to have a person that has, one person as a fist and the other person is kind of going over them like rock, paper, scissors, and rock and paper. And so essentially what you're doing is you're going to be pushing up against the other person like this, and they're going to have their hand over. And as you walk along the sides, it's going to get further and further apart, so you're going to need to lean in more in order to balance that. And what we want to do is we're going to probably actually put some stringers up that are going to go up in the tree and then across with little things coming down. And so initially the campers will say, well, I just need to get on one cable side and reach out and grab onto the stringer and then walk across and then get on the next one. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put the stringers, but the stringers will be about 6 feet apart or so. And so it'll be really difficult to maintain another person with their hand on someone while they're trying to balance. And so the reason, the way that we're going to, that's what they're going to initially want to do, I think. And so they'll find that quickly doesn't work very well. And so what they're going to end up doing is everyone's going to be getting on this, and they're going to need to go and basically put their hands, one hand out here and then the other hand on the shoulder of the person next to them. And so they're always going to be touching, another person with that hand. They could have this hand free, but they need to have something to counterbalance with the person that's across from them. Or they can do shoulder to shoulder. But we'll let them figure it out. An alternative to this is that they say, if it becomes too difficult, we can just say, well, how far do you want to go? Do you want to go, halfway to the midpoint here? And that's where, people can dismount. Or, all the way to the end. We can change it up however we want. It's going to be, I think, quite challenging to do with the group. But we'll see. I think it'll be pretty good. The debrief for this we'll go over in training. So, yep, that's it. Mohawk walk. This will be cables that are laid out at camp, and should be fun.